Hey, I'm Mark. In this project, I'm building a coffee table for my daughter's upstairs playroom. Nothing fancy, just something the kids probably beat up through the years. It's 3'6" by 3 foot. Got a little shelf underneath. I pretty much made it out of just leftover scraps I had. Well, I'll take you back to the beginning. Well, this is what I have to work with. I'm building it just out of my scraps, leftover pieces from past projects, and some boards that I don't think I could have done anything else with. And these four will be the legs, cut at a 7-degree angle. And I hope that I got enough. If I don't, I can always pull good wood out of my supply rack over there. And it's raining outside. I'm not going to be using the sawmill, so I will be using my vertical bandsaw. So I know the average person doesn't have a sawmill, so you can still do these projects I'm doing. Just setting up a rip fence on your, just get a vertical bandsaw and set up a rip fence. Well, let's get started. Alright, so my tabletop's going to be 3'6", and I want it to hang over 1.5 inches on each side, so I'll move the top of my legs in 1.5 inches on each side. And then this will be my rail, and it will be cut at a 7-degree angle, so I have to subtract out the thickness of the two legs. So we end up cutting the two side rails about 3¼ inches long at a 7-degree angle. So let's get over to the saw. Well, next I've got two sides that are still rough cut from the sawmill, and she doesn't want rough cut, so I'm going to just run it through the joiner to smooth it out, both sides. I'm not going to run it through the planer. I'm not worried about the thickness. It's off just a teeny bit. It's not critical. You can see how smooth that is compared to that, just one pass. Alright, now I got it cut up. Cut a 3/16 inch spacer, because I want to leave a little gap, and we'll take the pocket jig and cut two pocket screws in there. So we'll get over to that. Go ahead and put some glue on it too. I figured it can't hurt. Alright, now that I got two identical frames made, I'm going to get the bottom rail for the bottom shelf. I measured up 3.5 inches because that's where I want the top of my rail to be. I got it lapping over just a little bit, and I'll take a pencil and scribe a line underneath. That will give me the length and the angle. I'll get two of those cut. Next, we'll cut the rails for the ends, 29 3/8, 4 of them. That was fast. I'm going to wait before I put the slats in because I can use more scrap. Right now I'm going to work on making the top, see what I can salvage. Well, I'm having trouble coming up with enough scraps. I'm going to cut this one in half and see where I stand. Well, I salvaged enough boards. Got about 41 inches, so I only need 3 foot. So by the time I run it through the joiner and the planer, it'll be close. I'll run one side and a right angle through the joiner first. Makes it perfectly straight and square, and then we'll run it all through the planer. That was fast. I got all my pieces run through the planer, and they're all the same thickness, about 1 1/8 inches. I come in 3 inches from the end. After I square it up, I draw a line, and then every 9 inches. And it's not critical. All this is giving me a reference to go by when I run my biscuit joiner or plate joiner. I already got the deck set, and it's just basically roughly centered, and it's not critical. As long as you come in from the same side of the board every time, the top side. That way when you join it together, makes it nice and flush. I'm only doing the joint side of the first board. Next, let's get it all glued up. I'm using a white glue. It's a slower set. Since I have so many boards to join and biscuits, I usually use the faster set, but I'm going to have, I'll let it sit overnight more than just say an hour together. Well, we got it all glued up. We'll let it dry overnight and finish it in the morning. It was all dried, got it flipped over. I went ahead and sanded it with a belt sander only. I'm going to apply a little bit of quick drying glue only. We're about 6 inches here in the middle. Allow for the wood to expand and contract. Then I'm just going to shoot it with a 2-inch finishing nail or brad gun, and I'll plug the holes. Now that the top is good and secured, I'm going to take and use some wood filler, hide all the nail holes, and while that's dried, we will get started on the slats for down here. Well, these are the scraps that I have. Try to build all the slats out of. They're going to be 2 different size widths maybe. So I'm going to get this cut to length and then set up the rip fence on the bandsaw and cut them about 11/16 thick slices, and then we'll join them down to around 5/8, 9/16. Well, I used up just about all my scrap. Got a couple pieces left. So I'm happy to get rid of all that scrap, make it something useful. And I'm just going to glue the end pieces. The rest I'm just going to nail. Next, I'm going to wipe on a wood conditioner. I like the results that I get from it. It gives me a more even stain. And it's real simple to apply, and a little bit goes a long way. And you got about a 2-hour window from the time you wipe it with this to the time you have to apply your stain. And while that's drying for a minute, I burn my logo into the bottom of it. Alright, for the stain, she chose a dark walnut Minwax. And I've already stained the cracks and stuff on the underneath side that you would see at an angle through the slats. And I'm going to start down here. It's pretty fast. I really like the liquid better than the gel. Really move, makes up some ground on this. Well, next that the stain is dried, it's been 12 hours, I'm going to put a coat of polyurethane on it. And I'm using kind you would use for floors because it's really hard. Gives it a hard surface, keeps it from scratching. This is going in my grandchildren's playroom. And I'm using a natural bristle brush. And I will give it 2 coats. And you don't have to sand between coats if you do it within 12 hours. Well, that's the finished product. It's good enough for a kid's playroom. I appreciate y'all watching. We'll see you on the next video.